Hi everyone, this is Susie from Minnesota and I garden in Zone 4 and it is the first week in August and I'm going to take you on a tour of how my containers are doing. This is in the front yard in the whiskey barrel along with some of the baskets I planted up later. I would say my Coleus is doing fantastic this year. All of this Coleus in here, if you've been following me, are cuttings that I took. The pink coming through are sun patiens. I'm doing pretty good. There. It's like a vibrant pink. I've been doing some trimming just so if we do get a rain it doesn't smush it all down. Over here everything's looking fantastic too. The Coleus in here were all cuttings that I also took. This is a beautiful Coleus. I wish I remembered the name of that. This area probably gets about 4 hours of sun, but in the afternoon. And I find that Coleus tends to color up better with a little bit of sun. If this would be in more shade, it would be a lot greener. Kind of like down in there, if you see. So it would look more like that, but because it's getting sun up top, it colors up really nicely. Although the redhead, don't give it too much sun because it'll bleach. So this seems like the perfect amount of sun for this area. The sun patiens here are doing pretty good. They're starting to get just a little bit taller. I was expecting taller than that, but that's okay. This was a late planting in here. That is baby tut papyrus grass. That's doing great. Unfortunately, my greater quaking oats grass didn't make it. Next year, I'm not sure. This keeps changing here because at some point this tree is going to get big enough where this is going to be pretty shady. So I'm thinking next year, instead of going with a sun patient, maybe Caladiums. Because I've had a wonderful year for Caladiums. We've been in the high 80s, low 90s probably for the last 2 months. Every now and then we might get a little tiny break of that heat, and high humidity. Velveteen Coleus, beautiful. I've been trimming up on that to keep it a little more tight so it doesn't flop. This area in front gets a lot of wind, so I do worry about the Coleus breaking, and so far so good. Got a bunch of babies here from the spider plant. Can't really see the spider plant in the container, but I kind of like the little babies. It is starting to get a little splotchy there, but a lot of these leaves are the older ones, and then you can see the newer, so I just trim those out. The greater quaking oats grass back here I'm leaving, but you can see it's not doing so great, but it's not hurting anything, and I like the seed heads kind of popping through. So from afar, it looks pretty good. This one has more. I really like that. And there is just one Velveteen Coleus in here. And then these Caladiums were all bulbs or corms that I plant a little bit later. They were not established plants. So what I did was I put 5 on each side. I wasn't sure which ones were going to come up, and it kind of looks like they all did. This one, the Caladiums are kind of taking over. It's fine. You can see it's kind of shifting the Coleus a little bit, but that's okay. This greater quaking oats grass just completely dried up. But again, I love the seed heads. Over here has to be one of my favorite containers with the ivy geranium. And what's not to love about the verbena? The yellow swallowtails are really loving this. It's a pretty big container when you think about how big that lilac is compared to that. In these pots here, I've stopped with the fertilizer test because they were just getting too overgrown. I was trimming the very green growth. You can see this one right here. It is a tall plant, but it was just putting out a lot of green, and I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been fertilizing the way most people do. It's when I remember it. Love these blue blooms. It's black and bloom salvia. Ooh, this hydrangea is loaded with different types of bees. Can you see that one in there? I think right now the only containers that are getting fertilized on a weekly basis are my sweet peas and datura. Otherwise, the rest, I'm letting them do what they do. You can see I've got some going that way, swooping. I've just found a lot of my containers aren't really needing the fertilizer. They're just doing, Caladiums don't need a lot of fertilizer. Salvias definitely don't need a lot of fertilizer. Every now and then they might need a boost because there is no nutrition in this soil. It's a soilless mix. Zinnias here. There's just one plant in here, and that is looking fantastic. I do need to, I've been trimming this, but this one needs to be trimmed, but I still think that's pretty in itself. I moved this pot over here, which has Agara. And this one too. I love the kind of wispy airiness of this. It's just so delicate. I wish I could grow Agara as a perennial. Not my zone. This is a Scavola. I love the purple. Oops. We had some high winds yesterday, so it's whipping the creeping Jenny. Gomphrena. This creeping Jenny came from my garden area. Just dug it out. It's doing really good. The Gomphrena here I had started in March. Seeds. Same with the Zinnias. I would say 90% of these containers are seeds that were started by me. Datura. Not blooming yet. It kind of went through a lull, but you can see that it's loaded with blossoms. This plant requires a lot of fertilizing, so like I said, sweet peas and datura have been getting fertilized once a week. Moonflower vine, looking great. It's doing what I wanted it to do. I probably wouldn't have needed to put 2 in each container because it's not a really big container. And also I have rocks kind of in the bottom of this container to weight it down. So this arch doesn't, the arch is staked in, but it's just a little added weight. It did go down last year though, but you can see, look at the size of this. It's massive. So watering this container is at least once a day, if not twice. I'm sure that this root system is just taken over. I bet it's root bound. So I do have some yellowing in here. I just kind of keep cutting the yellow leaves out. But the top growth looks really good. Let's see if I can find a bloom. So this, I don't know if you can see it, that sun is a little unforgiving. But yeah, so very happy. Have not been fertilizing this at all. And very pleased. And then I have more up there, so it's got a lot of blooms. Maybe I can try and do a little video when that's in bloom, which is later on at night. And this is a Lobularia, massive. And that's just one plant in there. And it's touching the ground and it smells wonderful. It does have some yellowing, but like I said, the temps have just been crazy. Over here, sweet peas are doing pretty good. They're going through a little transition right now with another set of blooms. I just cut everything off. Been deadheading on a regular basis. Unfortunately, this is Molly Realstone up here, and the support wasn't tall enough, so it flopped. So Molly Realstone is a tall one, but Edward of York is short. But you can see not the best for cutting, so you would probably have to take a bit of stem here. But it smells heavenly. Over in here, I have an Angelonia. First time for growing it, and it looks pretty good. I planted it late in the season because I had some dahlias that did not work, which was unfortunate. But then my canna here, hummingbirds love this. I need to get in there and get rid of some of the dead, but it's okay. I mainly love the foliage of this plant. Some more Agara. It has sporadic blooms, a bright pink. Not a favorite, so I do like the red tinge of the leaves. So there is that going for it. So it's not, and there's only one plant in here too, so it's really bulked out. But I'm trying to figure out, every plant has a watering issue. Like heavy fertilization for the sweet peas, moonflower, don't fertilize, salvia. So it's like, it's just figuring out what works. I find that with geraniums, fertilizing every 2 weeks works really good too. There's not many blooms on it. I moved it more into the sun here. That gets a lot. So we'll see. I just did it. So I'll give it about a week and see what happens. It's Fuchsia. I would say this year, most of my vines I'm not happy with. It looks great. I love the foliage. Don't get me wrong. I love the variegation, but I haven't had any blooms on this. It's a morning glory vine. It should not be that picky. I mean, most places it's considered a weed. So, but I do like the foliage. It is covering this, and so not too bad. I'm trying to figure out what way I should go here. Maybe I'll go this way. I had an extra datura that I put over here in this little teeny tiny pot. That's doing pretty good. It's the growth habit is leaning, so at some point that probably will tip over. But these blooms are beautiful. The silver sage down here was also seeds I started in spring. along with just the basil here. Had extra, I put it there. Bees love it. This Salvia is a huge hummingbird magnet. I'm hoping I see one. They've been crazy. So they absolutely love the salvias. This sweet pea, what can I say? I'm leaving it. It looks a bit of a mess, but I still have blooms, and I've got some more cutting to do. But I love sitting here and having that scent waft over. Cleome. I think this is beautiful. I mean, it's in a smaller pot, but again, most of the stuff has not been fertilized, and I think it's doing pretty good. Sun patients, like I said, I'm kind of about them this year. Normally they do fantastic for me, and really hasn't gotten that much bigger. I know these don't require a lot of fertilizing, and they do like it a little more moist. I moved this over here. This is Diamond Frost Euphorbia. Yeah, but that's okay. It's still blooming. It still looks pretty good. It's not, some of it's a little brown. If I would get in there, I know if you can see, it shows up. There's some powdery mildew on it. But it's August. At this point, planting something else in there doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Maybe this year I might do something for fall. Maybe some mums. But right now, I really like this entire area. It makes me happy. And it's just when you see how many hummingbirds and bees and whatnot love this. The sun patient is doing a little bit better. More blooms, more branching. My begonias are doing really good still. Right now it was cold. I had the windows open and oh, can you hear them? They love the salvias. What can I say? If you want hummingbirds, plant the salvias. I was watering the other day too, yesterday, and it actually came to the spout of my watering can. We got just a little rain the other day, like a sprinkle, and they were out taking a bath. It was really cool. Alright, I better continue. I get sidetracked sometimes when I see nature at its finest. This is datura. It's massive. I had to stake it up here. Yes, you can see it, but look at all of the blooms on this. That is massive. And then I have silver sage around it, just 3 plants. I had moved some containers here. It was just getting too full, and I like this better. It was my moon garden in a way, but so I had some Agara, which I moved over in this area, and then some sweet alyssum, and I moved that to another. I didn't get rid of it, just moved it. But that silver sage looks unbelievable in there. snapdragons that I started from seed in the spring, looking really good. Another flush of blooms. They tend to, these need staking, so, but I still like their growth habit. They just kind of twist and turn, and I love the scent of them. It's a nice sweet smell. Trimmed up some sage here, or salvia I should say, kind of the same thing. But the blooms do look like this. But it's loaded, you can see. Sorry, I got distracted. I'm hearing a lot of noises. Happy birds. This is where I moved the sweet alyssum over here. So it's looking good. Nice scent. But you can see the silver sage was covering some of this. So I've got a few little dead spots that I have another datura in here, purple. And not one of my favorites. I mean, it got really tall. It's massive. But less blooms than the others, but they're there. I had trimmed up some, so there's the proof. And then Scavola. Wow. I mean, that's all I can say is wow. I have done no trimming on this. So when I deadhead stuff, and a lot of you might say you shouldn't do that because you're bringing in pests, but I'll just leave it beneath the plant, or I'll just kind of chuck it amongst the plants. Hostas are really good for hiding the dead stuff, because I just kind of lift up the leaves and chuck it under. But it decays and adds organic matter to my soil. It's kind of like chop and drop. Plus my compost bins are full. I moved this over here. It's just doing a lot better. Some of the leaves are getting a little bit yellow, but that's okay. This plant is one plant in here, and it's loaded. I think this is Rockin' Fuchsia, Salvia. And yeah, it's even to the point where, I don't know if you can hear this, but when I moved it the other day, can you hear that? It's rooted into the ground already. It's that aggressive. So probably shouldn't have done that, but you know what? It's just wanted to show you. But oh wow, favorite. This is an all-time favorite, Salvia. In this container here, these are the Verbena that I had pricked out of the soil by the hydrangeas and put it in this container, and love it. I love this because, you know, as I'm looking down from my window up here, you can see these little tufts of purple, but you can see through it too. Oh, I can't say enough. And these were just self-seeded from last year, free plants. This is a tall Cleome. Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. A lot of people think it's messy. I don't care if it self-seeds and comes back next year. I'll deal with it. Sweet peas looking really good here. I'm very happy with this. This gets a lot of sun. This area and over here. So that's why they're doing a bit better than, I'm going to say the scraggly ones, but I still like it. Just trying to think. I'm just going to do the containers here, and I might come back and do a small tour of an area that I worked up. We're going to go over here. More Diamond Frost Euphorbia. This absolutely loves this spot, and I love it because I barely have to water this, and it's bulking out. It's getting some nice height, and I just love the airiness of the flowers. Kind of reminds me of baby's breath. So yeah, back here It's doing okay. And it looks really good. But, oh, look at this. It's cool right now. We've got a little reprieve here for the next couple days with 70-degree weather. It's short-lived, thank God. I'm not ready for it yet, but it is a nice little break. Got the windows open. I'm guessing that bee is sleeping. But yeah, not a lot of flowers on the morning glory vine. This container here is just where I have all of the cuttings that I took. It's jam-packed, but again, this is August. I'm not expecting this to get a whole lot of growth, but I'm just seeing how it does. I will be taking more cuttings at some point that I will be bringing in. These two here were my first cuttings I took, and they're doing really nice. There is a container in here with black and bloom salvia. Strong wind and rain pretty much broke all of it off, so I cut it back pretty harshly. It's bouncing back, but it'll take a bit. Okay, this is a Plectranthus. One of my favorite trailers. I was thinking maybe, just maybe, next year I might try doing a window box over here. And I'm going to grow this because not only is it vigorous, but it smells lovely. Love it. I mean, look at how, look where that's at. That's crazy. And just one plant in there. Did I say it smells lovely? I think these begonias are going to respond well to some of this cooler weather that we're having. By the end of the week, though, it looks like we're going to be back up into the mid to high 80s. I moved that one container back here. I shifted. I had the Diamond Frost Euphorbia back here, and then I put the Sun Patient there. Look at my Salvia sorbifolia. That poor plant. It's aggressive. I think it'll make it. Hope. But yeah, looks good back here. I just moved it the other day. These begonias are looking good, considering you know what the size was when I first planted it. For those of you who have been following me, I moved a Coleus over here. I had pulled out my orange Asiatic lilies. So it's a holding spot. Right now I'm trying to think what I want to do. I might just leave it, or I might just move that as still be. But it just gives me some time to think on what I want to do. And then I moved this container over here for a little pop-up color. And then this daylily needs to be split, or just, I don't know, maybe just retired. Let some things fill in. And I'm pretty sure that the viewer was correct when they said that this is a creeping bellflower and not great blue lobelia. Because I was at my garden center the other day, and no, there are two different looks to it. So I did pull the bellflower, creeping bellflower I should say. It will be back, don't worry, because these are all babies everywhere. But I definitely have enough invasive, aggressive plants. These were caladiums that I just shoved in there. They were the bulbs. Probably overplanted, but the Sun Patient looks great here. And I'm wondering if Sun Patients like to be crowded. that they do better with blooming, because this one's gotten some good bulk to it because it's poking out here and it's filled in. So, and that one in that small container seems to really responded well to that too. So who knows, but I love this. These Caladiums are Miss Muffet. And it looks great here. I'm glad I left it. And then these are all Carolyn Wharton. Aren't they beautiful? I have a dragon wing begonia in there. You can't see it, so I would not have needed that. Just a pot of Caladiums. This is beautiful. And then the basket that I had bought at a garden center, it's doing okay. It's taken a lot of watering. Still a focal point, so I love that the bluish purple in there, the Brawalia. Still have that begonia back there. I'm giving it a chance. It's still living. So in here, you can see this is a pretty big container. So maybe sun patiens are best if they're packed in there. I've had better luck with sun patiens where they form a shrub. So usually they get to about like that size. They form a mound. So still August though. Could surprise me. But more Velveteen Coleus. This is beautiful. Been trimming it up to keep it. You can see I've got some smaller growth here, but you can see there's a little separating back there, but I'm not concerned. This one, just getting some blooms going here. Little teeny tiny babies. So we'll see what happens with that one. I still love the leaves. They're so soft. More baby tut, and this is loving it here. And I would say this area right here, maybe pushing it 4 hours of sun, and then it gets dappled sun, so it's doing really good. I thought for sure that it would be yellowing, but it's quite a hairdo for Trevor. And if you're not familiar with my tours, I name my animal planters. So this is Trevor here. The fish over there that has Lobularia is Wanda. These are beautiful, aren't they? I mean, wow. I've no care at all for these. Not a lot of watering. I'm in love with this Begonia snow. I would say it's rightly named. So you can see in here that it's pretty dry. Begonias do like it drier. Just going back here quick, getting kind of a look of the pots in the back. So you can see here with this Coleus, you can see it a little bit more. But I can't see it, so it's not going to bother me. And then this is Sheldon the Turtle. So this too, it should be bigger. But it has really pretty variegation in it. So that alone, to me, is also a win. There are some blooms that are forming down here. But last year, it was rain every other day. I had to empty out my rain barrel because I could not keep up. I barely had to water my pots. And this year, that's not the case. I think my rain barrel has been full 2 times. And I've pretty much used it every time I water my pots all up. And to me, it's like when you've got rain, you don't need fertilizer. So this is just a coleus cutting that I had. It's doing what it wants to do. It's getting a little bit leggy. I could go in there and trim it up and make it bulk out, but I don't know. I'm kind of okay with that. More Plectranthus. I love how it's kind of going up over the umbrella stand here, doing what it wants. Tahitian bridal veil. So delicate. And these are all houseplants. And then Wandering Jew. So this is where my rain barrel's at. And it's mainly hidden by this banana here, but isn't this looking magnificent? Look how big this coleus is. The banana's doing good. I think by this time last year it was bigger, which is crazy because last year I don't think we really got much over low 80s. It was a cool season. So I know, I mean, it's a tropical plant and it likes the heat, so. But it's still looking really good. I'm not complaining. I love the redness of this. I'm also thinking there is a canna that resembles a banana that I might do next year. I'm not sure if it's Musifolia. I have to look into that, and I might try that instead. I know that gets really tall, but I think the coloring of that might be a little similar to this. And that would also look good with this coleus too. I will be taking cuttings. But yeah, I do have coral sedum, lemon coral sedum down there. Probably would not have been needed because you can't really see it. Purple heart. I've broken some back there just from trying to water, but oh, you can see there's one broke here. I'll have to look. Maybe I can propagate that too. And then this is a dragonwing begonia. This too had some, you can see this. And I've been inspecting the plant, and I think what happened is I just got a little heavy-handed on watering here because this is wet. I haven't watered this probably now for about a week, and it's still damp. So I think I've just been overwatering that one. And I keep forgetting it's a begonia, so begonias do not require a lot of water, unlike the banana here. But yeah, that's how my containers look so far for August. We'll try and do another tour in September. I still hope we have warm weather. Hopefully through the middle of September. That would be fantastic. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed my container tour, and bye for now.